two, three, four.
Good morning. I just finished my Pilates class and it was so good, and then I did like a mile walk afterward, and I am excited to start today because it's a nice day outside, and I feel like nice days just like brighten up my mood. I feel more productive, and then when I start with the workout, baby, you can't tell me nothing. And it's 9:30. I mean, in the perfect world, I would get my workout in at 6 and start working by 8:30. But, you know, not there yet. We getting there though. So a couple days ago, I uploaded a reel, and I was talking about how I negotiated an extra $15,000 from a brand deal. And it got such a huge response, and there's been this really big discourse online about how you don't need a manager that I think is a very interesting conversation. So I wanted to give just my take on it. So if you didn't see the Instagram reel, I'll explain the story now. So a brand that I love, that I'm very aligned with, reached out and they wanted me to be a part of this campaign that they were running. Now, their budget was $5,000, which is substantially lower than what I would charge in general, but absolutely for what they were asking for, there was just no way. So my manager and I both saw the email. We didn't even say anything to each other. We were just like, she just replied no. So obviously she said it in a nice way. She said, like, you know, that's way below Erin's budget. She'd be perfect for a rate. She'd be perfect for this campaign, but just let us know if you get more budget. The brand swings back. They're like, well, this is the best that we can do, so hopefully we can team up in the future. Cool. We're good with walking away, because that's part of negotiating, is that you have to be able to walk away, and you have to be okay with that, because you know your value and what you bring to the table, and you don't settle. So the very next day, they swung back around. They're like, we got another $5,000. The client really wants to work with Erin, because this is the PR company in between that we communicate with. So very rarely are you actually talking to the brand themselves, which is why I'm saying the client, because this is the PR company, the PR agency that is essentially coordinating everything for the brand. So they have to talk to the client to see if the client has the money to accommodate our budget. So the client really wanted to work with me. So they say, you know, they came up with $5,000 more. We have an offer of $10K. Please let us know if Erin would be interested. Now, mind you, when they initially reached out, my manager made it very clear that for what they were looking for, the rate would be between $20,000 to $25,000. Keep that in mind. So they swing back around. They're like, we have an extra $5,000, so it's a $10K offer. Now, my manager is like, yeah, nah. And we honestly didn't talk about it again, because $10K, it's just too low. I have proven myself in this industry. I work really hard. My content is always solid. I'm very professional with brands, on top of so many other things that contribute to why you charge what you charge. So my manager, she's like, no. And she will clear with me. She's like, do you want to move forward? I'm like, baby, no. Like, there is a synergy between us to know that the value has to be there. Like, the money has to be there in order for me to take time away from making money to then, you know, essentially do this brand partnership. So they swing back around. My manager's like, yeah, no, we're not taking $10K. The next day, they're like, we have $15K. Will Erin be down to take the deal? We've got an extra $10K from where we started. Like, this is the best that the client can do. And my manager was like, if they can come up to $17,500, then we can have the conversation. So literally the next day, they're like, oh, they can do $17,500. Like, great news, call it a deal. We're like, great, amazing. And I think that there are so many lessons in this. One being, you cannot settle. Like, if you settle, you let the others, the person or the company that you're negotiating with, you're letting them know that you don't see the value in yourself, which is the worst thing that you can do. Because if we had have taken that deal for $5,000 or even $10,000 or even $15,000, if this company wanted to work with us again, that would be the standard. And your value and what you value yourself as sets the standard for how other people see you, how they treat you, how they pay you. So that is like the most important thing, is that I don't want that to be the standard that's set for myself. We also have to address the opportunity gap and the pay gap between white creators and black creators, because it is huge. I just think that you have to know what you bring to the table, and you have to stand on that, because I am not scared of missing out. That's the second lesson that I've learned, is that I'm creating my own opportunities. Obviously, I love working with brands. I think that there are some brands that I'd hate to turn down just because of how aligned they are. But if they can't see the vision and they can't see the value that I bring, because I go hard for my brand partnerships, so I don't like to settle when it comes to the rate. On top of that, this particular brand, my content was so good that they wanted to boost the post, which got me an extra $3,000. So we went from a $5,000 deal to a $20,500 deal. And I just thought that it was such a powerful story, because so many of us are just so scared of missing out. We're scared that the brand will say no. And so what? So what if they say no? Because you are setting the standard, and that's always the type of mindset that I want to go into business with, because at some point they're probably going to swing back around, even if it's not for this particular campaign, because sometimes they really don't have the budget. Like, you can play this game if you want to, but if you really want to get this deal and you're desperate for it, then you're gonna act out of desperation, and you're gonna probably settle and take a lower deal. So there are things that go into it. One being, you have to be okay with walking away, because you don't know what their circumstances truly are on the other side. I'm stopping because I gotta pick up something from my P.O. box. Perfect. Yes. Thank you. Got the goods. I got something from Pop Flex Active. I literally love them. They always hook me up. So, had to get that. Okay, so back to what I was saying. So yeah, I just so firmly believe that you have to be okay with walking away, and you cannot settle. That's like the 2 golden rules of negotiating. Now, when it comes to having a brand manager, I have had my current management for the last 3 years, and it has been the best decision ever. Where people go wrong is they have dream agencies that they think, because it's such a big agency, that they're gonna get these big brand deals, that they're gonna just take their career to the next level. And the issue with that mindset is you're giving your brand agency way too much power. What a management is supposed to do is manage your deals, which means that you should already be getting deals. Now, what I do say is that you want management who has a very good reputation in the industry. There are a lot of agencies that do not have the best reputation in the industry, and therefore it's difficult for them to make good connections with other PR agencies who are representing the brands. You want management who has great relationships with these different brand agencies. You want them to be very professional. You want them to not be so focused on marketing themselves as an agency to the point where they're slipping on pitching you for stuff. I think a lot of people have an issue with having brand managers, and then all of the deals are coming into their inboxes, like your own inboxes, and then you feel like the brand managers aren't really doing anything, and that is a problem. My management, I've never had that issue, and I came onto their roster being very clear about that. Like, I want management that is going to vouch for me, who sees the greater vision of Erin on Demand. I don't want you just managing deals that are coming into my inbox. I need to know that you're pitching me for things. And my management pitched me for a deal before I even fully signed on with them. That was my first 6-figure deal. Now, this is not to say that everybody who signs with them has a 6-figure deal or will have a 6-figure deal, but the fact that they pitched me for that and that was the result, and I wasn't even fully on their roster, I said, sign me up. Where do I sign? You got a lifetime client in me. And since then, it's very important for me to also have a great relationship with my management. Like, I think it just goes both ways. There are so many layers and nuances to having great representation and having a manager who understands the inner workings of the industry, all the ebbs and flows, why you can charge a certain amount. I have never worried about giving my paying my management 20%, because they literally always negotiate way more than what the rate was anyway. So they always end up kind of baking what their fee is on top of what the brand even attempts to pay. So like I said, it was a $5,000 deal, and my manager got that up to $20,500. Of course, I'm okay with her having her 20% cut, because why wouldn't I be? So 2 things. You cannot put too much power into brand management. They are not going to take your career to the next level if you are not putting in the work. If you are putting in the work as a creator and you're creating great content, your numbers are growing, you're making impact, you are showing up for your brand just as hard. You have to show up as the creator in order for a brand manager to be able to fully do their job. Number 2, I think it's very important to state your expectations very early on before you sign to an agency. I don't think there should be a such thing as a dream agency because you see who signed to it. They've got your favorite creator signed to them. They're hosting all these cool events. They're doing all of the things that you think is so cool. That's great, but when it boils down to it, their job is to help you make money, help you manage deals, pitch you to brands. And if they're not doing that, then they're not a good fit. It doesn't matter how big of an agency they are. It doesn't matter because the bottom line is the bottom line. They should be getting you money. And so it's a joint effort. Obviously, you have to show up as the creator, and obviously you have to do your part. Your content has to continue to elevate. You have to continue to make impact. You have to be going hard for your own brand. You can't expect them to come in and be a miracle worker. So that to me is just important to get out, because a lot of people think just because they're signed to the same agency as somebody else that they're gonna have the same results, and it just doesn't work like that, and then you get disappointed. So I can have my brand manager, we were planning to do a live in Substack, because I think that this conversation is definitely necessary for anybody who is either tossed up between getting a brand manager or in between management or isn't satisfied with their management. I think it's important to kind of ask why and ask those questions. Even if I don't get a deal and my manager pitched me for it, she will let me know. I pitched you for this. Let me know if it comes into your inbox. And if it does, cool. Because sometimes you don't know if management has in fact pitched you, because the brand still may reach out directly to you as the influencer. So you can't sometimes it's not that cut and dry, but I think it's a good manager's job to let you know, like, this is the meeting I'm taking for you. They're very interested in you. This brand has this going on. I'm pushing you for this campaign. Like, I think you would be great. Do you have any like high level concepts for this brand that I can share with them as I pitch you for whatever? Like, you have to have a manager who knows how to balance your needs and what you expect out of them, as well as being able to cultivate and have strong relationships on the brand side and have a strong pulse on what's going on in the industry. And that is very hard to find today because there are so many brand managers, and it's rare to find a manager like the one that I have. So the management company is called Iconic Fox, and they are just fantastic. So I will leave their information down below. They are very picky with who they sign on because, like I said, it's a two-way street, you know? So they're very, very particular about who they take on. And I think that's great. I love that their roster is so curated, and it's not just for whoever. They're not for whoever. They're for a very particular type of creator, not per niche, but the type of person you are as a creator. Are you driven? Like, so many things. This is not an ad for them. I just love them so much. So that is my thoughts on negotiating, on brand deals, on having a manager, and most importantly, having your own income, not being shackled to the brand cuffs, because you will feel so confined, like you have to take every deal that comes through, and that is the worst thing that you can do for your brand. Saying no gives you way more power than you probably think. So just make sure you aren't just taking deals out of desperation, and definitely not just taking like giftings and free trips out of desperation, like just because it sounds cool, because that does not pay the bills. Okay, it's a great segue into getting your feet wet, but it's not going to be the thing that sustains you over time. So these are all things to keep in mind that I've learned over my time in the industry, and I just hope it's helpful for somebody, because yeah. Also, let me know if you like this vibe, the car chat, because this is just such an easy way for me to kind of brain dump, give you guys my take on something without like the formality of sitting at my desk, and just kind of sharing tips and tricks. Like, I really want to tap more into this type of talking. So let me know if you liked this. Also, I am doing a live limited series on my Substack, and I am really excited because there's so much that I want to share through this transition. I feel like I'm right in the crux of a breakthrough, on the brink of a breakthrough, and I think that is like such a beautiful experience, but it can be very daunting and feel very lonely because you just don't know what's coming, but you know you've got to move past where you are, and your life just feels like it hasn't fully caught up to your potential and what you know is for you. I'm doing this live series for my paid Substack subscribers. So if you are not a subscriber on Substack, you can feel free, like you don't have to join paid. You can just go in there and like read some of my free content. It's very transparent. Like, I love being over there. But if you like the vibe of it, I would highly recommend or highly consider joining the paid, so you can be a part of the live series. It starts Tuesday, May 6th, and I'll see you there. Bye for now.